relationship between new sales and resales, the direct relationship between primary and housing markets. The title was creatively given by the organizer, which I accepted, but my research topic, as academic, we are more, sterile in a sense. So the research paper that actually I'm presenting will be, the title of it is called The Dynamic Relationship Between Primary and Secondary Housing Markets. So if you sell that, I don't think you all will be here, right? Okay, but anyway, let me just go through the introduction. My presentation will be in 5 parts: motivation, design, macro, micro, and then conclusion. Let me start with the introduction. When we look at the Singapore transactions, all right, just for non-landed private housing between 1995 to 2001, quarter 2, okay, the average transactions per quarter, all right, is $4.25 billion, and the volume of transactions over this period was 3,000 units. All right, that's a big size, and what my study is about is to basically break down these transaction volumes into 2 sectors: resale and the new sale. Okay, the new sales itself is in the private market can be, as I said, home sales in the private market can be separated into new sales. This is the primary market. This is the market whereby you buy a unit before completion from the developer. All right, and resale, which is the secondary market by definition, it means buying an existing property. The difference between the first market, primary market, and the secondary market would be that in the primary market, it involves new stocks. That means your total existing stocks increases. Whereas in the secondary market, there is no increase in new stock. What you are doing is you are just churning existing supply. All right, I understand among the audience in this room, some of you all specialize in the primary market, some in the secondary market, some both sectors. All right, my focus this afternoon within a half an hour is to basically see how these 2 sectors are interrelated. Okay, some statistics: between 1996 and 2009, new home sales constitute 44% of all transactions in the private housing market. All right, and if you look at the Singapore's context, the primary market transactions constitute a big proportion of the total volume of transaction. Either you look from volume or in terms of aggregate value. On a flow basis, annually, the new stock comprises about 4.44, very easy to remember, right? 4.44% of the housing stock. All right, that's the new supply for the private non-landed for that period of time that I was studying. If you chart it across time, all right, if you look at the beginning here at the study period at 95, and at the end here, all right, you will see that the percentage of new home sales have increased, all right, as a proportion. Now it's over the whole study period is 42.3%. Okay, it's a big proportion. My motivation, why I'm doing this research, actually this research took 2 years to do. All right, I'm going to present it in 20 minutes. All right, so it's a big challenge. All right, but the main motivation was property prices was increasing dramatically. People were concerned. Who were the people who were concerned? Aspiring home buyers, businessmen, all right, who worry about their business costs, even policy makers, all right, worries about the dramatic escalation in house prices. And this is not just related to Singapore, it's the region, it's international as well, okay? And a lot of propositions a lot of ways people have come in to talk about how can you arrest or reduce the dramatic climb in property prices. In Singapore, you see some of the measures and all those things. But one of the very popular proposition, all right, you either deal with it from the demand side or the supply side. All right, that's the market, demand, supply. All right, so my research is basically a lot of time, a lot of prior research and look at the demand factors and all those. All right, my focus was to look at supply, and a popular proposition is a very simple proposition. All right, which goes like this to say that if you build more houses, prices will come down. All right, so this is in an academic perspective. All right, to justify our existence, we cannot make it so simple. All right, so we have to complicate it. We call it hypothesis, we call it theory or whatever, everything. But it is basically this thing called the competitive hypothesis. All else being equal, a new supply will increase the competition to the existing stocks, all right, leading to a price decline. All right, so that's very intuitive. All right, so my whole 2 years was spending just to confirm that. Okay. But there's a twist to the finding, okay? There's a twist. So how do we go about designing this is that the research question, putting more formal, is how the marginal change in supply affects house prices. Specifically, we examine the price response of existing homes to new supply entering the market. We look at it at two levels. One at the macro. I think you have heard of this word a lot of times today. At the macro level, all right. But I will also deal with the macro, but I also want to go down to your level at the neighborhood project level as well. So we do both. All right. Let me start with the macro first. Macro analysis. The data we basically need is we track the macro supply in housing. All right, basically the data we use is the number of units launched in each quarter sourced from URA. Okay, that's easy. The other data that we need to track is the house price index. We didn't use the URA index because URA actually comprises the new sales and the resale all inside there as well. What we wanted to do was, if we have a new supply, how would the existing properties prices move? So we actually take the time to create our own price index, which consists of only the resales. All right. This one. I don't need to show it here because I only put this up because I thought my colleague from NUS Business School is here, so she will be able to appreciate this. All right, all right. The rest of y'all, this is just to formalize the whole thing. The only thing you need to know is this, the key point I want to look at is this: the change of supply in any period. How will it affect the price in the next period? All right, the change of supply in the last quarter, how will it affect price in this quarter? So that is basically the whole research about. Then for completeness, we need to control for all the macroeconomic factors in terms of the demand side. All right, even though my research is on supply, I cannot ignore the demand, and the demand drivers we put down there will be the income growth, the change in interest rate and all those things. We control for all these things. All right, at the macro level, let me just go straight to the results. What does the results shows? All you need to focus on is this thing here. All right, but if you can't understand all this, is verbalized for you. Interestingly, what we found, what we expected was a negative. Increased supply, next period price goes down. That's the competitive hypothesis. But what we found was increased supply, next period price goes up further. More supply, price goes up further. All right, so this is not a competitive hypothesis, Now, when you do research and you get a result that is puzzling, we call this a puzzling results, right? That's where we justify our existence. We create new theory. All right, we call it new theory, but it's actually a new story. It's actually, you ask yourself, what explains this phenomena whereby if you have more supply coming in next quarter, prices continue to go up? All right, we come up with this term called the contagion hypothesis. What is this? What is